Global silence. Royal routine. A world familiar with polished diplomacy. And then, an interruption. Sudden, quiet, unsettling. Because in this story, an Arab prince's hidden plan for Princess Leonor did not stay hidden. It surfaced today, exposed, unexpected, and nothing about it was as innocent as it first appeared. What the world thought was ordinary royal protocol was, in truth, something far more personal. Far more calculated, and far more dangerous to the delicate balance surrounding Spain's future queen. The questions begin. But before the world understood what was happening, it had already begun months earlier. This story imagines a Europe moving through its usual rituals, ceremonies, meetings, alliances, the gentle choreography of royalty in the public eye. Princess Leonor stepped into her role with grace that felt both youthful and impossibly mature. She symbolized promise, renewal, a monarch to be whose presence drew admiration far beyond Spain. But someone was watching her from afar. Someone with intentions so controlled, so deliberate, that even the closest advisors never sensed the shift until it was too late to stop. The Arab prince in this narrative began quietly. A soft presence, a diplomatic voice in the background. He had the kind of upbringing that forged confidence from privilege, intellect from expectation, and ambition from destiny. His family moved in powerful circles. His education crossed continents. His worldview was shaped by strategy, position, and opportunity. And Princess Leonor, intelligent, poised, and soon-to-be queen, became, in this fictional exploration, a central figure in his calculated interest. Not publicly, not obviously, quietly. The first curiosity loop opens here. Why her? Why now? And what did he believe she could represent for him? The world didn't see it. Spain didn't sense it. But certain diplomats did. A shift in questions asked behind closed doors. A pattern in unofficial communications. A name repeated more often than expected. It all pointed toward one conclusion: the prince was studying her. Admiration. Maybe. Respect. Possibly. But something deeper ran through his efforts, something neither romantic nor political alone. Something that threaded both, like two strands pulled together with careful precision. When today's revelation broke, it felt sudden. In truth, it had been building for months. The script now opens its second curiosity loop. What was the plan? A meeting? An alliance? Something more personal? The answer, in this fictional telling, unfolded slowly. It began with information gathering. The prince studied Leonor's speeches, her interviews, her philosophy, her role in Spain's shifting political landscape. He learned her public strengths, her quiet vulnerabilities, her diplomatic approach. He learned who she trusted, who she avoided, who she leaned on. He learned Sophia's influence in her life. He learned Queen Letitia's protective instincts. He noted King Philippe's discipline. He saw the structure of Spain's monarchy as a puzzle, and Princess Leonor as the key piece capable of reshaping it. But intention alone is not a plan. The prince set his foundation during his travels across Europe. Denmark, Norway, France, England. Everywhere he went, Leonor's name floated subtly into conversations. Each interaction allowed him to gauge how she was perceived, how strong her future could be, how vulnerable Spain's political environment might become in the years leading up to her ascension. Behind that, another layer existed: personal fascination. Princess Leonor had a quality he found rare: duty without stiffness, youth without irresponsibility, strength without coldness. In this fictional account, he did not simply study her. He grew drawn to her. This is where the third curiosity loop tightens. Was this admiration, or obsession, a political strategy, or a personal mission, a future partnership, or a dangerous miscalculation? Today's global shock came from the moment the plan was exposed. It began with an intercepted communication, innocent at first glance. A message discussing diplomatic proximity during an upcoming European gathering. But buried beneath polite language was a precise schedule. Details of Leonor's public path. The angles from which the prince intended to observe her. The individuals he hoped to influence around her. The subtle ways he planned to initiate proximity without causing alarm. Security analysts pieced it together. What they found shook them. This was no casual meeting. No accidental encounter. No spontaneous admiration. It was a quiet plan, calculated, measured, and deeply intentional. A plan to create connection. Spain reacted immediately. Advisors gathered. Phones rang. Private meetings were called deep within the royal household. Concern rippled through the palace like a cold wind. They had no proof of threat, but the timing, the coordination, the secrecy all pointed toward an agenda they did not understand. Princess Leonor herself, in this dramatized telling, was unaware of the storm forming around her. She carried herself with routine dignity, preparing for upcoming engagements with her usual blend of calm focus and youthful earnestness. She sensed tension among her advisors, but no one had yet told her the full truth. Not until today. The moment she learned of the prince's quiet plan, the room fell quiet. What did she feel? Fear, confusion, curiosity, responsibility. Leonor did not react with panic. She rarely did. She processed information with the calmness of someone who understood the weight of her position. Yet something in her shifted, a deeper seriousness, a recognition that her role now extended beyond public duty into the realm of silent strategy. Here another curiosity loop forms. How much would she be told? Would the prince be confronted? Would diplomacy shield her, or trap her? The plot thickened when foreign advisors revealed another detail. The prince had spoken privately with a high-ranking European diplomat weeks earlier. His words were polite, subtle, but unmistakable. He believed Leonor represented the future of European stability. He admired her emerging leadership. And he believed that forming a bond with her, however undefined, could reshape international relations for years to come. His tone implied more than diplomacy. Not possession, not aggression, but intention. A quiet plan. Spain faced a dilemma. Ignore it and risk future complications. Address it and risk diplomatic fallout. Strengthen security and risk drawing attention. Or involve Leonor directly in shaping the response. The fictional narrative chooses the fourth. Leonor, guided by her parents, responded with clarity and restraint. Her decision was measured, powerful, and precise. She would maintain her duties, strengthen her focus, and avoid any reaction that could escalate the situation or give room for misinterpretation. She would remain herself, graceful, strong, untouchable. But the world was no longer quiet. Media outlets learned fragments. Social networks exploded with theories. Analysts debated intentions. Spain entered a state of tense anticipation. The prince offered no public explanation. He issued no denial, no clarification, nothing to calm the storm forming around his name and hers. And that silence became its own message. The story now reaches one of its deepest curiosity loops. What happens next? Will he approach publicly? Will Spain confront him? Will Europe intervene? And how will Leonor navigate a tension she never asked for? Leonor's life had always been shaped by public expectation. But today, in this fictional narrative, she faced something new, a calculated interest from someone with power, influence, and a strategy built behind closed doors. Yet her strength rises here. While the world speculates, she walks forward with unwavering composure. She embodies the dignity of a future queen who understands that every step she takes, every expression, every silence, carries the weight of a nation. And perhaps that is why the prince found her compelling. Perhaps that is why his plan formed. And perhaps that is why the world is now watching so closely. But even the most carefully crafted plan has limits when exposed. The story leaves you with one final curiosity loop, the one that ensures you remain tied to every development, every whisper, every shift in the narrative. What will he do now that the world knows? Will he retreat, adapt, or escalate his quiet pursuit? For now, the world waits. Spain stands alert. Leonor moves forward. And the prince watches from the shadows of his own intentions. This fictional revelation has changed the landscape. Nothing will be the same after today.